Hello and welcome. I'm your host, Salvatore Bruno. Join me in discovering the mindset into fitness, nutrition and wellness, where I'll be answering your questions, interviewing the top names and leaders in the game, and of course, I'll be getting their stories on how they get motivated to become the best. You'll find it right here on Bruno Talks. Hello and welcome. So my guest today is a guy that I actually train with. We've known each other for around about a couple of years now, I'd say, and he's taken the whole dad bod to a whole new level. Today we're going to be discussing his journey from essentially being obese right through to trying out different diets and keeping himself around about 9% of body fat throughout a whole year, while being a dad, while eating some amazing foods. And this is where we all find out exactly how he does it all. My guest today is Matt. Hello, Matt.
Hey.
How you doing? You all right?
Very well. Thanks for having me on. That was a good intro.
Thank you very much.
I hope I live up to it.
So, you know how this works.
Yeah.
And for me, straight away, I always like to start, with the first kind of question. But where does it start with you?
Well, for me and my story, it's got to go back quite a way. Obviously, I am a very proud father. I've got two gorgeous children, and they do mean the world to me. I've really kind of, I love my life the way it is. But obviously, you have kids. I have a job. I'm the breadwinner. A lot of pressures. I have to get up to get into London, like everyone else. It's hard, and I kind of found that pre-kids I was relatively fit. Obviously when I was a kid I was quite obese. I was obese, there's no quite obese. I was very obese. I went to dietitians. I was in hospital at a young age and on quite a lot of steroids to get over a bad infection in my kidneys, and I kind of, my parents at the time thought that I had a knock-on effect with my digestion, and I put on a lot of weight post that. So I started life very large, up to kind of when I went to university, still large. Played university rugby, very large still, and I kind of remember being embarrassed on our initiations where we had to run through central London in your boxes.
Wow.
Yeah, exactly. It was the first rugby game you play, they took all your clothes and you had to run back to the university bar, and I can't remember exactly what weight I was, but I was a big lad, and I remember being so embarrassed and hating that point, and that kind of memory stuck with me for a very long time. And during university I was an 18-year-old boy playing against some big old men at 25. There's a big difference between an 18-year-old and 25-year-old. And I remember just being outclassed and out strength. So I remember after that I was like, I promised myself I'm not going to be this size anymore. And I went away that summer when I broke for that year, and I just lived in the gym. I fell in love with the gym. That was the first time in my life that I kind of fell in love with lifting weights. And I got really fit, carried on my life.
How old were you then?
So I started the gym 19.
Okay.
So I hadn't really done any work up to then. I used to I just spent the whole summer in gym, and I came back and people didn't recognize me. It was like that big
much of a difference.
That much. I lost all the weight and got quite toned for my age, and obviously dominated then on the rugby pitch, which I loved, which was good fun. So that's kind of where I went, and then grew up. Got a girlfriend at the time, got quite fat again, as you do. Then I was lucky that I started a job in a company that everyone was the same age, and the guys in the gym, guys at work went to the gym at lunch, and again I got quite hench quite quickly again. I just had a natural, I had the motivation. I'm quite lucky. I would say I've got a good genetics that if I go to the gym I can put on muscle mass quite quickly, and I enjoy it. I really enjoy it. So I started getting back into shape when I was in my mid-20s, 25. Then I met my now wife, Laura. I met her at work. We moved in together, and 2 years later we moved in, had our first daughter, and got married the year after. And it was, I guess, a lot changed quite quickly. We moved out of London when we found out Laura was pregnant. We moved to Reigate, so we were originally living in Clapham. And again, around that time, I was taking part in half marathons, so I was keeping very fit. I still didn't, even at that point in my life, so we're talking late 20s, like 28. I was strong, I was fit, I could run half marathons, but I didn't have the body type I wanted. I was still I was strong, but I had a layer of fat over it. moved out of London, and we obviously found out we were expecting our first, Naomi. And it's that when the typical dad bod, the stereotype, that came into play in a big way. I went from being quite strong, quite fit, to stop going to the gym for a good year and a half, and I lost everything. Like all my muscle mass just completely went. And if you look at pictures of me that Christmas, I'm ridiculously thin. Like I'm 6'2", 6'3", and I was weighing in like under 13 stone. So I lost a lot of weight, and I just didn't look healthy. Right, I looked quite ill, especially.
And do you think that mentality-wise, you were affected?
Yeah, massively. Like, don't get me wrong. Obviously, becoming a parent is one of the best experiences of my life, and I absolutely own it now. I love it. Yeah. But at the time, it's a big shock. Yeah. You're obviously, me and Laura were always going to have kids, and we were going to get married, but we weren't expecting our first. Being honest, so it was a big change. We lived in Clapham. We went out almost every night for a nice meal, and then we had to obviously like move out of London and adjust to that, and then obviously adjust to becoming a parent. And then you've got the late nights, the disturbed sleep, like, and it's all first. Like, it's first for everything, and it's a lot to take on board. And you quickly make excuses. You're eating the wrong foods because you're not prepping food anymore. You're just eating on the fly. You're up at 1 o'clock in the morning. You're on the sofa. Your baby's wide awake, wants to play, and you're just eating crisps and drinking full fat Coke and just all this the stuff you know in the back of your head you shouldn't be having, but you do because it's there. And I don't really want to go and prepare a nice meal with vegetables and I think
this is where the moment we're going to get half the listeners that have
can relate
family who's going to be nodding their head going, I totally understand where you're coming from. And you've got the ones that haven't got kids that they won't understand that kind of zombie kind of.
Yeah, you're in another world.
You're in, you just basically get up and so on, and you don't know what time of day it is. You just go with it.
Yeah, and then on top of that, you got to work.
Yeah.
The worst thing is when obviously I used to be permanent. I'm a graphic designer, and I used to have a perm job. And on my mat leave, I got made redundant. Like 2 weeks into so it was really like literally I remember the boss, they have to have that like conversation, they're reading it from a script, and I was like, all right, you can cut the BS, have I got a job or not? And he was like, no. And I'm like, all right, I appreciate your honesty. And I just said to him, I know how businesses work, but you picked the worst time of my life. But thankfully I got my mortgage in place, and so I had to pick up contract work quite quickly, and I've stayed contract ever since. But it was quite stressful, or moving house, Laura giving birth, having a newborn baby, and like one and a half weeks then finding out I hadn't a job anymore, and I had to get a new portfolio up and online, and then go and interview, and I was working straight away. I probably should have taken, if it hadn't happened that way, I would have taken more time off to spend with my newborn, but I couldn't. I had to get back to work quite quickly, and then obviously you fall into the bad habits. Like, I was a contractor, that was a new thing for me as well. Early trains in the morning. Obviously I live quite far out of London in like Red Hill, so to get to London, if I want to go to London Bridge, I've got to be on a train at like 7:30 to get up to London, because the train's always bad. So you quickly make excuses, and I remember I stayed like that for a long time, and it was only really when we found out we were expecting our second born that I was like, I need to sort this out, because if I don't get on top of it now and we have another child, then I'm gonna either lose more weight or just get really fat, because I wasn't happy in myself. I've shown you a picture earlier. The picture I was before I started getting back into the gym. I was not depressed, that's a strong word to use, but I wasn't happy. I guess because I was obese as a kid, I'm very conscious of my weight.
And did you find that those kind of, because of the things that happened when you were a child, did you find that was affecting you, even though you were, I could essentially look at those pictures and think, well, you're not actually that bad of a shape, but
mentally,
were you looking at yourself going, actually, I'm in terrible state.
Even when I got down to my we've had this conversation. You know what I'm like. Even when I'm at the least body fat percentage I've ever been in my life, mentally, I've got the wrong. And I know a lot of people suffer from that, but I think I suffer from that more because I used to be obese as a kid. Like when I go out and play with the kids, I have to like tell myself to get over it, because if I feel my top is a bit too tight, I just shut down. I don't want to play. I want to go and sit down and be miserable, because I feel as if I'm overweight. But then I look at myself, I'm like, no, I'm 8% body fat. What am I on about? It's a weird one, and I've got issues. thankfully I've got a wife who is so understanding and forgiving. She just laughs it off or just tells me to snap out of it and get over it.
I laugh it off and tell you to snap out of
it.
it.
Well, yeah, you do exactly the same.
But no, it's and this is this is not an uncommon thing that happens with a lot of people. They
body dysmorphia.
Yeah, exactly. And obviously, it affecting you from being a child, it obviously took you to the point where you essentially were, in an okay shape, but not happy in yourself.
Yeah, I've always been, until this last year, I've gone up and down, up and down, up and down.
Yeah.
But I've never been in the body type I wanted.
Yeah.
I've always, whenever I went to the gym, I would put on muscle mass, and I would describe it as a prop. I always used to end up looking like a prop or a second. Like I just was quite chunky and I was strong, but I never had the body. I wanted the athletic look.
Yeah.
But I was addicted to lifting heavy weights, and I couldn't understand. And at the time, I didn't really know enough about. It was my diet. I always thought, if I need to get ripped, maybe I've got to do lighter weights. So I'd then do like a month or two of lifting light weights, but heavy, like a lot of reps, and it just wasn't working. I got so confused by it all. Until I met yourself last year, and then you kind of helped me out with that one. But yeah, I never really achieved the goals I wanted to. I kind of ended up just getting a bit too strong. But saying that, I'm stronger now than I used to be, so it's swings and roundabouts.
And then at what point? I mean, we know we're talking about that you decide that you wanted to get into better shape. But was there anything that actually happened, or you saw yourself in the mirror?
Well, yeah,
was there an actual moment that you just went, actually, I can't carry on like I am? Yeah,
well, obviously I've said I can't. I'm terrible with dates, and my wife's going to kill me that I can't remember the years my kids were born. So, obviously it was 2015. I had Naomi.
Yep.
2016 I got married, so that's the year I did trim down. I didn't care about muscle when I got married. I just wanted to be slim, so I found losing weight quite easy because I'd lost weight because of Naomi. Like being a dad, like the late nights, I just lost all my weight. So I managed to. I think on my wedding day, I was 13.1 stone, so I was slim. I was fine with that. I didn't mind that. It was only then I carried on the same weight until 2018. So I remember I did join a gym in 2017. Donnings near Red Hill, but they didn't open until 6 o'clock, and I always used to get in there late anyway. And I used to go, and I made an effort every day I went, but it was hard work trying to get myself out and into the gym. And then in 2018 we found out that they were expecting our second, our Fox, and it was that point I was like, as I said before, I needed to get this sorted, because if I don't get on top of it now, I'm going to lose even more body weight and get really thin, or just get very, very fat. And I know it sounds really weird, but I found out I was having a son, and I was like, I want to set an example.
Yeah.
I know it's really weird because I didn't have it with Naomi, but maybe because it was our first. But as soon as I found out I was having a son, I was like, I want to set an example. I want to be a unit. I'm not a unit, that's a strong word, but I just want to be in shape. I want to teach my son and my daughter even that you can achieve anything you want. Like, I cook a lot at home. I never used to be a cook. And we can go on that in a minute, but I never used to cook. But now I cook a lot, and one of the things like why I cook a lot is like I want to show Naomi, like, you don't have to be a woman to be in the kitchen. I know it sounds really weird.
No.
And I get her involved all the time. I make cupcakes for her most weekends, or if we always have waffle Sundays, and I get her to help me out. I was like, I want to set a role model and show that I can cook, clean, whatever, and that I'm dedicated and I can achieve a good body shape. Like, you see so many parents on holiday where like they are large. I'm like, I don't want to. If my daughter sees me big and fat, what am I setting her up for, or my son? Like, I don't want my son to grow up and put on that much weight. I want him to be an athlete. I want him to. But if he doesn't want to be an athlete, wants to put weight on, for so be it. I don't really care. But I don't want to. Why set your kids up for a fall? You got to be a role model. So that's, I guess, my realization when I knew I was having a son. I was like, I need to get on top of this. I want to sort myself out. So yeah, it was just kind of all at the same time. The Red Hill gym. I obviously met you. It opened, so I moved to that gym, and it was a 24-hour gym, and that was a great thing for me because it was no more BS. Like, I couldn't use the excuse.
There's no time.
It's like, you can't. Yeah, that's that. Everyone I've ever met, whoever is overweight or says to me, "Oh, you've done really well. How did you do it?" I was like, "Stop lying to yourself. Like, you can make time." And they say, "Oh, I can't. I've got to get to work for 9." I said, "I'm up at 5 a.m. now every day. I get up at 5 and I'm in the gym normally by 6.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't always want to do it. Sometimes I want to lay in bed, especially now it's winter. But I know as soon as I get there, I'm gonna enjoy it.
Yeah.
So it's
and we've had this conversation a few times because obviously we used to train together.
We did until you abandoned me. Should we talk about that for a bit? Why you abandoned me, Bruno?
And I remember the conversations that we used to have with people, because obviously for me to get to that gym, which is out of my area,
massively,
I used to have to get up at 4:30 or 4:20.
Yeah, that's early.
And then we used to essentially train together, and then we would leave at the same time to essentially go to work.
Yeah.
Where I would then go to work, and some people have just got up.
Yeah.
They literally have just rolled out of bed, gone into work, and they need a half an hour or 3/4 an hour to get themselves awake because they've just literally woken up.
They've just woken up.
Not realising that I've already been up maybe.
Yeah, it's like we've done half a day already, really.
Yeah.
But yeah, having that 24-hour gym for me was a massive, no more lying to myself.
Yeah. And I remember having that conversation with you about how you weren't exactly happy with how you how you looked, and then we kind of had this discussion that you would love to be a certain look and a certain body fat percentage.
Yeah.
And then that's when we kind of sorted things out a little bit. And then I just remembered this whole kind of, and I kept saying to you, like, this whole new mat that turned up, because it seemed like once you hit your shape or that body shape that you wanted, you were a lot happier in yourself.
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah, massive, because I'm not confident or big-headed, but I just felt so much better.
Yeah.
Like, I can go in more recently. I've changed my diet even more, and I'm full of energy. I can probably go on that, but I've obviously started a keto diet. I've only a week and a half into it, but I've got so much more energy. But yeah, as soon as I kind of, I think for me it was like, if we kind of rewind a little bit further, it's like, obviously we trained for a year, me, you, and another one of our friends, Max. We trained as a free for a good year, and we all put on a lot of muscle mass. Like, I remember when we first started training, you would have 220s on a bench, and you would struggle with that, and then
that's heavy.
Well, exactly. But yeah, that's like 60, and you would struggle, and then like a year later, like you're doing 100 and 100 plus. So we all went through the same. We all put on a lot of muscle mass, mainly because Max, who we trained with, was a beast. he was a very strong man. But I remember it was Christmas Eve. Me and you just rocked up to the gym. I wasn't even working that day, so we just came into the gym, and I remember I was able to lift like 130 on the flat bench whilst talking to you. Yeah. Like literally, I was on the bench just ripping out 130, having chat as I was ripping it out, and I was like, I'm loving this. I'm super strong, the strongest I've ever been in my life. But still, at that point, didn't have the body type. I wasn't happy. I was trousers and tops felt tight on me, not in a good way. And then obviously Christmas, and it was only after Christmas, the New Year. Obviously, everyone puts on weight over Christmas, and I was just talking to you in the changing rooms after a session, saying I'm just not happy with my body shape. I'm strong, but it's not working. And you're like, "Well, just sort your diet out." Yeah. And my response is, "I tried it. I cannot be arsed with this." And your reply, and it's still it's like ingrained in me, is like, "What are you talking about? You get up at 5 o'clock every day to train like an animal. If you can do that, you can sort your diet out." Yeah. And I remember it's just standing in the gym, and I think about it all day. And the next day, I'm on it. I was like, "No, okay, so this is happening now. I'm not going to bullshit myself. I'm going to actually make an effort and really give it a go." So in my head, I said, right, I'm giving myself 12 weeks. In 12 weeks, I want to be under 10% body fat. And I started off at 16% body fat. Yep. And I managed to hit that in less than 12 weeks. I did it in 10 weeks. And I remember you were very happy. Very happy. I was over the moon. I was like, I didn't think it was achievable. Yeah. But I guess as soon as I put my mind to it, I was like, yeah, you're right. If I can, which I can go to the gym at 5 o'clock in the morning. If I can do that, then I can count my calories. And it was an eye opener, because I didn't realize how bad my diet was and where I was going wrong all my life. Like, and I'm sure everyone does it. Like, I remember, like, say Christmas, I did 130, felt strong as an ox. So then at lunch, I remember I'd go into a hamburger joint, have a hamburger, chips, mac and cheese, a beer, and think to myself, "Oh, I deserve this because I lifted heavy." And it was like, and then obviously you learn through nutrition, like, if you want to lose the weight, you've got to do the calorie counting. That's what I did, calories in, calories out. I didn't look at macros at all, it was just calories. And then I learned, oh my God, if I have that one meal, that's my whole daily intake. No wonder I never had the body type.
So I remember having that conversation with you regarding the peanuts I used to eat. and it was just like, yeah, but it's only like a handful of peanuts. But it wasn't. It was just like
you kid yourself.
And it's it's that fine kind of tweaking that I always use, that word that I use, but and I think you've done amazingly well, because anybody who's able to hold their body weight at that percentage and eat the foods that you did.
I learned quite quickly.
Because at what age were you when you were, so at Christmas time you were how old?
What do you mean Christmas time?
So like, for example, when you did this, and
I'm 33 at the moment this year. I was 32.
Just so the listeners get a rough idea, because obviously now you're a father too.
Yep.
You're 33 years of age.
Yep.
You have a full-time job. It's in London, so you've got commute time.
Yep.
And you're still able to, and we're going to go into the eating habits in a minute.
Yeah.
But essentially, you are able to eat what you want to eat.
I eat tons. You wouldn't believe it.
I'm going to love this bit.
Yeah.
And then, but you still have to go to work, and you are still able to achieve all your goals
massively
while doing everything else, being a father, working, stuff like that. And this is the kind of like the message that I wanted to get across, that people do use time
massively as an excuse.
As a massive.
They use that as an excuse, and they use the excuse, "Oh, I've got, but I'm a parent." And it's like, you can sort it yourself out. It's just your mindset. Yeah. And it was the mind I had. I was like it. I had the wrong mindset, and it was as soon as like, well, if you can do this, if you can do that one difficult thing, which the most difficult thing is actually getting into the, once you're in the gym and you're in routine, it's easy. But for me, it was like, you kind of really flipped a switch. I was like, well, if I can achieve what I achieved and get so strong so quickly, then I can sort my diet out, and I can. Anyone can do it. I'm not. The thing is, I do nothing different to what you do, what anyone else does. I go into the gym and I lift weights, and I enjoy it. There's no secret tablet. There's no secret, if you take this protein shake with these diet pills, you're going to lose. It's not. Everyone does the same. Even the bodybuilders, they do the same stuff. They may have a bit more extra juice in them, but it's the same. It's the same.
And that's kind of like, because I very much relate to it, and we've had this conversation before, because obviously I've got 2 kids myself, and I didn't start off.
Well, exactly.
My fitness journey started off very late.
Yeah.
And I remember it. It's like one of my motivations, like every day. But I remember, like I used to have an apartment then, and there was like 2 flights of stairs. My kids rocked up these stairs like lightning, and I got to the top of the stairs. I was out of breath.
Yeah, same. Like, I didn't want to be like that either.
And I'm just like, I can't be that kind of parent where I want to be able to run. Not only run after my kids, I want my kids to be able to chase me.
Yeah.
But for me, you've done all this, and then your journey just went like fudum in the whole food sector.
Yeah.
Because then you are sitting here now, not just as Matt, but obviously you've got this whole Instagram thing going on, and people now have got to know you as the kind of essentially the barbecue king, I guess. Yeah. So you got an Instagram page, haven't you?
I have,
and it's called.
It's a bit. I don't like saying it. It's called the Grill Master of Surrey. Yeah. Now it's very pretentious. The reason I
love it.
Well, the reason I chose that, because originally when I set the channel up, I wanted to do a lot of branding, and I thought it's very relatable, because I came up with a strapline, be the Grill Master hero. Yeah. Like anyone, same thing. Anyone can barbecue, but I've kind of come up with all these. I'm a graphic designer, so it's quite natural. In my free time, I came up with all these logos and stickers. So the name was kind of the Grill Master of Surrey was chosen, so I could use Grill Master, and obviously the strapline Grill Master hero. So that was an interesting one. So it started because, again, it's going back to my kids. Laura used to be the cook in the house. We had our first daughter. She still carried on. I'd never done a Sunday roast. She always used to do the Sunday roast at the weekend, and I always used to think, I can't do that. I could only do chicken and rice. And then it was exactly. And then it was only when Laura fell pregnant again with Fox that she just couldn't do the cooking. Like, you've got a little 1-year-old running around, Naomi, and she's heavily pregnant. So I took over and I started doing the Sunday roasts, and I just fell in love with cooking. It was quite weird. I've never done cooking in my life, and suddenly I started doing the weekend cooks, and then it came round to summer. I've always barbecued. I've always had a gas barbecue, and I would always class myself as a kind of okay-ish barbecuer. But I would only ever do sausages and burgers. I wouldn't do anything more. And this year came round, and I wanted to buy a smoker. I wanted to buy a smoker the year before, but they were quite expensive. But I was like, no, this year I'm going to buy myself a big old, because I like American low and slow food. So I bought myself a quite cheap smoker and fell in love with it. So I was doing American style cooking at the weekends, and that it just had a snowball effect. I got better and better. Like, I guess because I'd learned the winter before doing the roast dinners, I kind of got understanding of what works. And yeah, I just instantly fell in love with cooking and fell in love with low and slow barbecue food, and started posting it to my personal account. And I didn't. After a while, it was just the whole of my account was getting taken over barbecue food.
Amazing looking food.
Yeah, it was. I would do. I have to admit, the only one I haven't been able to cook is brisket. That's a hard cook to do. But I would do ribs, pork ribs are my favourite. Beef, Jacob Ladders. They're the massive, like the huge ones. When you go to Bodine's, I would say personally, everyone I've had round, my food would it's better than Bodine. If you fancy Bodine's, it's that kind of food, but at home. But yeah, I literally do everything. I love it. I absolutely love cooking.
One of the reasons why I obviously brought you on was obviously because of how you managed to keep the dad bod at bay. And well away.
Well,
but obviously the whole... Now, if anybody gets to have a look at your Instagram, they obviously now see this. I mean, we're not talking like just normal standard food. It's not just amazing foods.
Yeah.
But also... You were eating the foods that
you have to. I can't waste the food. If I cook it, it's going to get eaten. And
I remember that kind of conversation that we were having where you then suddenly were going, well, I'm actually eating this last night, and it was like 2,000 something calories, and it was just like, wow, we need to really look at changing things up.
Yeah.
Because you're totally right. You can't waste the foods.
You can't waste. I'm really, I don't know. I guess our generation, I can't. Literally, I was thrown into. You have to eat the plate. If it's put on your plate, you eat it. But yeah, it's really hard to like, and especially when I set up the Instagram account. Like, I had an ambition. I wanted to get 1,000 followers by December. I only set it up in late July, so nearer the end of the summer. I managed to hit. I was getting 100 followers every week. Until I got to about 700, and then it was the end of the summer, and I've really taken the foot off the gas pedal because it's just not as fun anymore because you can't cook at the weekend because it's just so cold. But I would be cooking, especially at the weekends. I would cook sometimes 2 meals at the weekend in one day because I needed the content. My ambition was the more content I put up, the more followers I get, and it was working. Like 100 followers in a week is pretty good. So I would cook up a massive meal on Saturday lunch and then a massive meal Saturday evening. And I'm talking, I would get a whole, like one meal, very clearly, Laura went away one weekend with the kids. And I was like, well, I have to cook something to post it. And I just cooked up a massive chicken, a beer style, I've never done it before, beer style chicken. It was huge. It could have fed 4 or 5 people. And I ate that all to myself. But the way I did it, okay, so I quickly learned, okay, I had managed, up to that point, I had maintained my percentage all summer.
Yeah.
But yeah, starting this barbecue food, I realised that, it's going to be a tight one. So I started doing intermittent fasting. So I realised if I'm going to eat this big meal in the evening, which it was, sometimes I would easily say 2,000, if not more than that, calories, then I have to offset that somehow. And I found, I used to do intermediate fasting the year before, or actually no, a couple of years before that. And it worked. I just adjusted my macros and my calorie intake so I could save them up for the evening. And yeah, it works. Intermittent fasting is amazing. Yeah,
because that's one of the biggest kind of the conversations that were going around the group of friends that we have at the gym, where they were obviously seeing what you were cooking. They saw what you were eating, and then you are still able to hold your essentially your body shape.
Yeah.
And people couldn't understand why, and this is why we were quite open about how you didn't eat.
I didn't eat all day. No, I guess I'm quite strong-willed.
Yeah.
To get to, if you want a goal percentage, it isn't that hard. You just count your calories.
Yeah.
You don't snack. Like, snacks are the killer.
Yeah.
As soon as you, I've started a new diet at the moment. You eliminate snacks, you'll hit your body percentage with ease. It's your, and obviously tracking it. You have to track it because you lie to yourself if you don't. But I just found my routine when I was cooking all these big meals is wake up, go to the gym. I would have a pre-workout, which got 0 calories anyway. Finish the gym workout. My breakfast then would be a protein shake, which is 150 calories tops. That will last me until lunch. At lunch, it would be a simple salad, green leaves, cucumber, tomatoes, potentially some protein. Sometimes, if honestly, I didn't even want the protein because I had such a big meal the night before. Like, if you're kicking up a massive chicken or pulled pork, you don't want meat for lunch. So I used to real simple salads. I would get back home to Red Hill, and up to that point, I'd only consumed 400 calories that whole day. Would be, and that's my shake, mainly from my shake.
Wow.
400 calories, that was it. And I'm training hard, lifting heavy. Like, I'm at that point in the summer, I was squatting. The maximum I squatted was 180, and I folded in half, so 170. I was squatting, benching 130, so it's heavy-ish weight. But I would only been eating 400 calories. And I remember sometimes walking back to the car, I'd be so wobbly, I would have to buy a cucumber and fill up on a cucumber. And I purposely bought a cucumber because I know in that massive cucumber, there's only about 40 calories.
Yeah.
I still remember that. I thought, 40 calories, that'll do. And that will get me home in time to then get the barbecue on. Yeah, like, and cook up. But in that mind, I would start planning what I was going to cook at lunch. So I remember clearly, one day I was at work, I was like, I fancy a Philly cheesesteak sandwich. Never done it before. It was amazing. I bought a massive loaf. It was beautiful. Like, but I'd rather do that, because I've tried, because we kind of jumped to the summer, when I started the first cut, I realised that to cut, you got to lower your calorie intake. So I kind of realised, right, I think my target was 2,000 when I started it, and then I lowered it to 180, and then a week before my holiday, I got down to 1,600. And I was just struggling to hit 180 to have a breakfast, lunch and dinner, a good size. Like, I would start off with egg whites, scramble them with like turkey bacon. I went crazy for turkey bacon, and I had that for breakfast, and then my lunch. But I found the meals were so small, I would be more hungrier afterwards. So that's why I started the intermittent fasting. Is I found, well, I'd rather scrap breakfast. A protein shake will fill me, just with water. That will fill me to a lunch, and then I can have a slightly bigger lunch, because I don't have 400 calories now for breakfast, and my lunch gets a bit bigger, and then my evening meal gets even more bigger. And even when I was so we're going back to like the beginning of the summer, when I first did the cut, I'd always have a cheat meal on a Friday. I've done diets my whole life, all my life, because I was obese. And Laura, my wife, has always known that I'm on a diet and I can't eat this. And I used to be on paleo for a year. I did paleo for a year and a half at one point. And my wife just used to get fed up that I couldn't eat this. Going out for restaurant meals with her was hard, because I was like, well, I can't eat any of this. So this time around, doing the calorie cut, it was like, I can't do that anymore. Laura would just not put up with it. So I was like, I would rather save all my calories than in the evening eat whatever she wants to eat. And I remember every Friday night we would still have a takeaway. I would go to takeout. We would go to Sainsbury's and I'd buy a curry, or then I'd go into my barbecuing for the barbecue sauce. This year I've eaten the best meals of my life, and I've still managed to get down to I can safely say this whole year I've never been over 9% body fat.
And I think that for me, that's probably one of the key kind of things to really highlight, because when it comes to people failing goals, or especially when it comes to losing weight, it normally is related because they're eating. It's normally food related. Either they eat too much, or they love snacks, or something. Normally it's a bad habit that they can't crack. And then they see like someone like yourself, where you're not only posting these amazing pictures of these foods that you've made, you're physically eating these foods. You're making these foods for yourself to eat. And these foods there's some high fats, there's carbohydrates there, there's all
barbecue
sauces, there's lots of different things.
I started making barbecue sauce at one point. I went through a phase because the weather during the summer, I think there was a lot of rain, so for like 1 or 2 weeks I was making barbecue sauces, like trying to perfect them. The amount of sugar you don't realise until you start. I think that's another thing I actually quickly learned, because I fell in love with cooking like year before, doing the Sunday roast, and then barbecuing, and more recently actually baking as well. I know what goes into food a lot more. I've learned that before barbecue sauce, I knew there was a bit of sugar in there. I didn't realise how much sugar, and it's really benefited me cooking this much. Like, setting up the Instagram account has helped. I know it sounds weird, has helped me lose weight even more, because I know what's in it. And if I know what's in it, it means I can offset that by not having a meal for breakfast. Come the weekends, on a Sunday especially, like my Sunday roasts are huge. I will go down to I've got a local butcher, and I will go and get a massive joint. I prefer pork. Pork's my favourite Sunday roast, because you get the crackling, and my crackling I can manage to get. I prefer to get good crackling on pork. You need to prepare it the day before. So I start prepping my Sunday roast on Saturday morning, but Sunday I don't eat a single thing all day.
Yeah.
I don't train at the weekend. On Sunday I have a day off. I don't have breakfast, lunch, anything. I just save myself for that one big meal because I know I'm going to be doing the Yorkshires. I'm going to have the potatoes, stuffing, carrots. Like I'm going to just go all in, and I'll have 2 helpings. Yeah. But I know I've just saved up my calories. It's not. I wouldn't really say I did intermittent fasting terribly well because it's not really intermittent fasting. I calorie save. I'd rather push. I can fill myself up basically on water, knowing that I'm going to have one big meal in the evening.
Suppress your hunger, I guess.
Yeah, suppress. There you go. I can suppress my hunger.
Yeah, because I guess there'll be a lot of people that be listening to this, going, "It's mad. It's mad what he does." You know, he's essentially not eating throughout the day just so he can go home and eat
and gorge out. I know it's terrible. People, and I would hate to think what some people think, but
and then you get other people that will be listening, going, "Actually, it's a genius idea because essentially you're able to eat what you want to eat." Knowing when you're going to be able to eat it. And all you're doing is just, like you said, saving your calories.
Massively.
To the evening.
Because I know my wife doesn't want to have... Like, when I was on the paleo diet, you can eat sweet potato. The one carb, like, I don't know how much... I can't remember it exactly, but basically it's a caveman diet. No processed, and oddly, sweet potato, you can't have carbs, you can't have potatoes, rice, all that kind of stuff, breads, you can't have... But sweet potato falls in a category that you can have. Yeah. And I remember, because I was on it for a year and a half, at the end of the year, Laura was like, if I eat one more sweet potato, like you're out the window. Like she couldn't do it anymore. And I was like, this time round, I want to get my body shape for me. I don't want my wife to be affected by it. But yeah, I'm just going through my Instagram account now. Like, yeah, there's some massive meals.
You don't have to tell me. I think the one of
like ribs. Like I've got enough racks of ribs to feed 4 people.
I remember the one thing that really kind of opened discussion at the gym was the burger one that you did.
Oh, I've just fallen on that one. Yeah, so what I did there, I took 500 grams of mince. That's the big one. No, 750, the big boy. So you get that's a lot of mince. And
that's a lot of mince.
I made 4 patties out of that, and then between one patty, I then put. What was inside? I think it was like soft cheese and bacon and more cheese. So yeah, a lot of fat, and then put the other patty on top. And out of 750 grams of mince, I made 2 burgers. Yeah, they were probably, if you put 2 fists up, that's how big it was. It was ludicrous, and I ate it. I'm not. The other one I had to save for another night.
But the thing that you ate it.
Yeah, I was really. But the thing, Laura, that was actually a time that Laura wasn't even there, so she didn't eat that. That was me.
Wow. And
I just sat there. That was an early on picture as well. That was going back a while. But yeah, I was very proud of that. That got me a lot of likes. Oh yeah, there it is there. And it had cheese on top. Incredible. And it had cheese on top. Oh, if only I could go back in time and eat that. It was very good. But yeah, it's. I don't know. It was. I have a good mindset. Yeah. If that's what I want to eat in the evening, that's what I'm going to eat. I just knock it off in the day. Yeah.
And I think because for me, it's like
you don't have to.
There's you know that I don't do all the fad diets and stuff like that. And I know I always try to tell people that you can pretty much eat anything, and it's all about moderation. Mm. And then you've got the whole thing where you've essentially taken that moderation and gone, I will eat in moderation, but I'm going to have it all in one sitting.
One sitting, yeah.
Which has allowed you to pretty much eat anything
I want.
You want.
Yeah. And like I said, Friday night is takeaway night. Yeah. Now, if you go to a personal trainer, I want to lose weight, cut out takeaways. And that's not true. You don't have to. But the one thing that I think you said to me, and then I heard a lot on YouTube after, is like, you shouldn't look at a diet as a day. Diet is not a day. Yeah. Sorry, hang on. Let's not correct this. It's not a diet, because diet means you're going to go back. But you shouldn't look at your intake of calories like on a day basis, but a week basis. And 100%. Understanding that's why I allowed myself to initially have these Friday cheat days, and then obviously more as the months went on. But understanding that, I was like, okay, so if I want to have this big takeaway on a Friday night, I can have that, but it just means the day before, day after, I just reduce my calorie intake by 300 calories, which isn't a great deal. Yeah, because so many people... It's like a sandwich. Don't have a sandwich the day before, day after, and you can have that big meal.
Because so many people that they count, like you said, they count their calories daily. And then what happens is they then get to the weekend and they go, actually, I'm not going to count my calories today, and don't realise that a McDonald's meal or a Nando's or anything like that, suddenly it's racked up like 3,000, 4,000 calories in one sitting. Yeah. and they then go, well, I still haven't lost any weight, but I've been really good during the week.
During the week. Everyone says that. I'm good Monday to Friday, but
yeah, exactly. And I always say to people, look, if you want to eat that kind of stuff at the weekends, then you need to plan that, but also be a lot better during the week.
Yeah, you have to. You
drop the calories during the week, so you can able to eat something like you do, like on a Friday. Like for me, obviously, I've got my cookie train on a Friday night, which I'm going to be looking forward to.
Yeah.
And that for me is 1,050 calories.
Yeah.
There's chocolate in there. There's going to be peanut butter in there. It's a cookie. But this is the thing that I've actually introduced into my essentially my food intake. Yeah. There's no difference me adding these cookies than it would be for me to add chicken and veg. I've literally have added it into my plan.
Yeah, you have to. I think I don't want to go through life. I've done diets in the past, fad diets. I've tried it. If it doesn't work, you just get a bit depressed. Yeah. Like when I did paleo, I personally love paleo, but my wife couldn't put up with that. I didn't want to put her through. Why should she suffer? So she wants to eat a takeaway. I want to join her. But on the flip side, I remember when I did the whole 12-week thing that I said, right, I'm going to get down to this percentage. That was harder. The harder part. Once you get down to the percentage, as you know, then it's easy. Yeah. But to be fair, when I was doing the first 12 weeks, I wasn't having these massive meals. I only did the barbecuing, obviously, in the summer. I would still have the cheat meal on a Friday, but I found those 10 weeks, it was an eye-opener what you're eating. So it's not all easy. It's the first, once you get down to the percentage you want, you go into more of a maintenance. So you can up your calories. Yeah. And I kind of wish, I'm now in a position now, as I said, very briefly, I'm on a keto diet, so my calories have gone through the roof, and my body's loving it. Unfortunately, I lost a lot of ambition throughout the year. Like I went in and out of the gym, but my problem was that I got to the percentage I want. My original goal was 10%. I did that quite quickly. Then I said, right, let's see if I can get to 8%. I got to that quite quickly. And then I was like, well, okay, this was too easy. I'm not saying it was easy because I got down that much anyway. Get another 2% off wasn't hard. Yeah. And I was eating all these lovely meals. I lost a lot of ambition, and I kind of wish I kind of swapped it up and actually upped my calories even more and had a few weeks off. Yeah. Because I stayed under 1,800 all of this year. Yeah. This whole year, I would never go over that, and I kind of got very bored. And I kind of now have switched it to a keto diet where my calories have gone a lot higher. I'm enjoying things a lot more, and I was like, I wish I'd done something sooner.
And that's one of the things that I would definitely say, that you are very ambitious when it comes to trying out new things. You know, you're very willing. Like I remember we had this conversation about the keto thing, and that literally came about a week ago.
Yeah, dived right in.
Dived right in, and I remember the screenshot you sent me of your very first keto breakfast, or
bullet coffee, keto coffee.
Was it even a breakfast? It was just a coffee.
Coffee.
And this was how many calories?
Over 600. I think it was like 630 in one drink. In a coffee, and it was amazing.
And this is where when you do go into things, you do go.
Yeah, I go all in. But it's a natural trait. Like my friend, this is going back years, said, "Oh, he wants to do a half marathon. Do you want to join?" I've never done half marathons. I could barely run a mile without stopping. And then in a space of like 10 weeks, I was hitting times of under 1:30, and I did a half marathon. The half marathon was a Santa run, and out of 400 people, I came 12th. And I was the only person to cross the finish line in a Santa suit. Like 11 before me were club runners, so they that's what they do. So if I commit my mind to it, I go all in. Anything, like even photography. Yeah. I love photography. Yeah. And I thought, I've got a child, I need to get into photography. I bought all the kit, and I love it. I love doing it. Barbecuing, same thing. Yeah. I bought myself a smoker. I liked it. I sold it. I then bought myself a massive smoker. I've got an electric smoker, a pellet smoker, and it's huge. And I absolutely love it. And it gets used. I use it all the time. I did like pumpkin soup on it last week. It's an oven, and I use it all the time. But it's a trait of mine. I always go all in. If you have the mindset, you can achieve it, kind of thing. If someone else on a fitness a fitness book is posing, it's like, well, if he can do it, like what I said before. We all do the same thing. We all go to the gym. We all lift weights. Yeah, and I think that's probably one of the, because there will be people who are listening to you now and going, but you are at that extreme level. You know, if I wasn't,
exactly. And this is where the one thing that people have to start somewhere.
Yeah, exactly.
And your initial bit when you first started was you weren't going to a gym. you were working, you had a child, you didn't know, at the present moment in time, you had no time for any fitness, let alone cooking.
No.
So you just made the decision that I needed to go to the gym.
To better myself.
Or just do it for once.
Yeah.
At least you just go. And I think this is one of the key things where there's a lot of fathers, mothers out there that will be in the same situation, and they will generally get that whole ambition because they'll be surrounded by other people that will be going, you just don't have the time. I'm a parent, I just don't have the time.
Yeah, it's hard.
But once you make it that time, it becomes kind of habit.
Yeah,
it's the same as the time it takes you to commute to work. You've accounted that into your day. Yeah, and now you account the gym as part of your your day. Yeah, and I think this is where a lot of people don't have to take it to the extreme to like suddenly start buying themselves barbecue equipment and stuff like that. But they definitely, by starting out like you did, can essentially go from the dad bod to holding the body shape that they want for a whole year. Yeah, it's incredible.
Yeah, well, it's baby steps. Like when after I had Naomi, my daughter, like you've seen the pictures, I was depressed, and you look at my body type, it's proper dad bod. Like I had man boobs, a gut. I wasn't happy.
It was your typical dad bod.
Typical dad bod. And then I would walk into the gym and I would struggle to lift any weights. I was weak. I'd lost everything. Like I was skinny fat. And now, dedication, looking after, and then it is just a diet, like what you said to me. That if you can get in the gym and do the workouts, you can. And as soon as you start tracking, I have to, like anyone out there who wants to lose weight, it's simple: calories in, calories out. I put my heart on that. I didn't believe it. It's start tracking what you eat. Yep. As soon as you start tracking, you realise, you start you can't lie to yourself. You're being held accountable. You can't hide behind anything. As soon as you write down what you've eaten that day, you realise, okay, it's a shocker. Yeah, a massive and then that's the beauty of it. You start fine tweaking. Like I kept it really simple. I worked out 4 meals that were low calorie, and I would do a massive cook on every Sunday. And I would do a whole week. For me, I don't care if I eat the same breakfast and lunch for a month. I did. I ate a tofu curry for 2 months, every lunch. Yeah. Because, and I have to admit, at the end of 2 months, I was sick of it. But that meal, I was around 200 calories. I've got it, and I would use everyone uses my MyFitnessPal. Yeah. And I would store meals. I would store tofu curry, a corn chili con carne, which was beautiful. What else did I used to make? Soups, a stew, and I would just rotate them. So I'd have it for a whole week, and I'd then do another batch, whole week, another batch.
Know exactly what you're going to eat.
And I know exactly. I when I was doing the initial cut, I used to have the turkey bacon and scrambled egg for breakfast, and then this 200 calorie lunch, and then that's why I knew come evening it was 400 calories, and then I could have a slightly bigger meal with my wife. And I just kept to that, and I just kept on fine. Like literally, as soon as I didn't do any cardio, I have to admit, I didn't introduce any cardio because I found no, I didn't want to do it. That was actually mainly, but I found I didn't want, if you go in guns blazing, think right, I'm going to reduce all my calories, I'm going to do cardio, weights, you're going to set yourself up for a fall. But if you hit a wall where if you're not losing any more calories, you've got nothing else to bring to the table. I couldn't come. Like when I got to 1,600, there's no way in hell I could have got any lower than that, because I couldn't have gone to the gym to do my weights. I felt weak. But if you're doing cardio from day one and you hit a plateau, you can't introduce anything new. So that's purposely why I didn't do cardio at all. But luckily I found I could drop all of my weight without needing to be on a treadmill for half hour, which was good.
We've talked about the past, where you've basically been, where you currently are, and so on. What's your next step? I mean, where do you see yourself like going into like 2020? I mean,
I don't know. Well, there was always a possibility of going into a comp. Yep,
which I know we've discussed.
We discussed. I have to, if you, because I've never done it before. If you said you were doing it, I would have signed up. Yeah, but it didn't happen. I don't know if I would do a comp. I have to admit now. Just I don't think I've got that personality. I don't think I've got to stand on stage and do it. I don't know. I think at the moment I'm enjoying. I've changed my diets again to more of a keto diet, mainly just because I wanted something different. I'm bored of my diet. I've been on the diet for a year. I think I was 8%. It was weird because I got to the point where I didn't have to stand on the machine to know what my percentage was, and I went a whole 2 months without going on it. And then one day, I better check. And I was expecting it to say 10%. I got on it and it was 8%. I was like, cool, great.
I think that was the day that I told you you are less than 10%.
Yeah.
And you didn't believe me.
I didn't believe you, yeah. So
the machine to
I had to have a machine to tell me. So I thought I'll try something new. I'll try this new diet just because I'm so bored of the soups I've been having. And I think I said earlier, I wish I'd up my calories at some point because I've just got so bored of it.
Yeah.
I haven't made any more progress in the gym because I've just hit a massive plateau. So I wanted to switch things up. So I've gone on a very high fat and high calorie diet. Like yesterday, I had 3,600 calories. Where like when I was cutting, I was on 1,600. So it's like over double. It's a lot of calories, and I'm losing weight, which is it's crazy.
Yeah, and I think this is where you are constantly learning about your body.
What works? Yeah, I never used to do that. I never used to. Now because I love my cooking, I know what I have to achieve calorie-wise. I'm now looking at my macros, which I've never done. So when I first did my cut, I never looked at macros. Calories in, calories out. That's all you have to do. But now I'm looking at that as well as macros.
Yeah.
Because to do keto, you have to have fat. 70% of your day input is fat.
Yeah.
Protein 30 and carbs 5. That's an extreme keto.
That's very low.
And I've gone even harder than that. So my calories for my percentage for carbs is 3%. So it's nothing. And I've done that for a week and a half. And I've kind of adjusted it as of today because the last 2 days, like for the first time after the gym, I'm aching because I haven't got enough protein in me because I'm only on 30%. I haven't been taking protein powders, haven't been taking any supplements I used to. I'm just on water, and I'm finding my body's aching and I'm quite deflated when I'm at the gym because I haven't got the carbs to give me a pump. So I'm tweaking it this week. I'm putting my carbs up by a few more percent, so it'll probably be 10% this week. My protein will probably go up to 35 instead of 30. So I'm enjoying doing this fine tweaking.
When you get to that point where you're fine tweaking, that's when you really get to exactly, and you actually get to know how your body really works when it's at that potential, where it's literally like just flicking up the carbs a little bit can actually give you so much more energy, and if you have a little bit more protein, it will make you recover better. Yeah, exactly. Where before you probably didn't know any of that.
I would never have known. I would never have, if you said what's a macro, I'd be, I don't know. I know. If anyone's out there listening, you don't need to look at macros. If you want to lose weight, just calories in, calories out. Yeah, that's all you have to pay attention to.
Yeah, because I remember that very first conversation. I know we're going to go back onto the peanuts, but because that for me was, I've always found that whenever I get someone to check what they're eating for the very first time, there's always a shock, and there's always an item on what they eat that shocks them the most. Yeah, and your peanuts for you was the biggest shocker. Massive. Yeah, it was like realize. I can't believe how much calories or fat are in the peanuts that I eat.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like a tablespoon of peanut butter is like 300-400 calories, and when you're limiting yourself to 1,600, that is a massive. Yeah, that's a lot. So you've got to work out. I can't eat that anymore. I quite enjoy the fine tweaking and finding the foods that you can eat. And I was eating big meals. I wasn't eating small meals. The evening with my wife, they're huge. Yeah, but it was all broccoli. It was all cauliflower, carrots. Yeah, no parsnips because they're too high in calories. It's like I know all my veg. What has a high percentage? I'll stay clear of parsnips, and I love roasted parsnips, but no, broccoli, yes, eat loads of it. Zucchini, I always say use zucchini the American way because I like it, but you can eat loads of them. Carrots, loads of them. And so I'd make up a massive roast. If I was doing every night, I would just roast up like that and have a protein with it. Yeah, and it would be fine.
And this is one of the things that I also want to get out there, that you're not a personal trainer, you're not a nutritionist.
No, not in size.
You have learned, essentially what your body works really well with. Yeah. You've learned that you can eat pretty much whatever you want and still hold a good body shape. And you've done this pretty much all by yourself by learning from like all sorts of videos.
Well, there's so much content just out there. I've hand on heart, the tracking your food is the best thing to do. Yep. And obviously we've had loads of conversations in the past.
Of course.
But this whole the new fad is I woke up. Actually, I know how it came about. Okay, so I wanted to try and get a little bit more leaner for Christmas, so then I could indulge. I'm not going to lie. Come Christmas, 1st of December, I'm going to hit the gym, but I'm not going to at all worry about my diet because I enjoy Christmas. I enjoy mulled wine, the mince pies. I can't wait.
Yeah.
Mince pie power.
That was a good gym session.
Well, that was a very good gym session. So I wanted to drop my weight again for December. And I found, but at the same time, I wanted to up carbs because I never really used to. Post workout, I just had my protein shake, but I did a lot of online research, and they just said carbs, your body can absorb carbs the most after working out. So I thought, oh, cool, I'll take that into consideration. So I started upping my carbs, and I was starting doing porridge oats, and obviously porridge oats. You used to throw me out my calories. I remember texting you not too long ago, and you said just reduce, but your percentage of carbs. And I was like, no, I don't want to do that because I want more carbs. I was only having 80 grams of oats, but it would throw me out my calorie wise a lot. And I found that upping my carbs, I was so lethargic at work. I found after the workout, I was sleepy at work. I was sleepy because I'd upped my carbs too much. And up to this point in my life, I'd never looked at my macros. It was only literally 2 weeks ago that I was paying attention because I wanted to up my carbs. And I was like, well, carbs don't work for me at all. Like if I up them, I just feel sleepy and I feel rubbish. So I thought, well, what is the opposite of that? And I just Googled it, and then keto popped up, and I was like, try this. And it's been an absolute eye opener. Like when I first started the first week or the first couple of days, I was so under calories and under fat. I was literally sitting down with a bowl of peanut butter, shoveling it down my throat just to get my fats up. And it's been interesting. And a week on, I've learned that my workouts are a little bit slower. So I'm gonna, like I said, I'm gonna tweak it again to work.
So for someone, let's say for example, we've got a dad that's listening. He's got no time in his hands, or we believe he has no time in his hands. And what would you recommend? If that person was standing you face to face, and what would you recommend would be the first kind of step?
Well, if he was a close friend, I would say get a grip of yourself. You have got time. If they were, I would say just set mini goals, like little baby steps. Like people always set themselves up for a fall by having high expectations. Like at the end of the day, you are a new parent, especially for new parents. If you're a couple of years into it, you know what to expect by now. But new parents, especially if they're out of shape, or new mums, you've just had a baby, you want to get rid of the bump. Like Laura's now wanting to do that. It's a massive thing. You got to do baby steps. Start by, right, I'm going to start doing a diet or calorie counting for 3 days. And then they feel, oh, it's not too bad. Then, okay, do it for a whole week. Do a calorie count and see how you go. Okay, cool. Go to the gym one day. Great, you did it. As soon as it's little baby steps and you have wins. Like you instantly, oh yeah, cool. As long as you don't go and reward yourself with a big fat calorie, but just set yourself little mini goals. Have an ambition. Like my ambition was, I've never had my body type. I was always a beast. I wanted to be lean. I wanted that athletic look. I had friends that I used to train with, and they had the genetics that they naturally looked like shredded. Except I always used to be stronger than them. And I wanted that. And when I obviously had Fox, I was like, I'm going to achieve that. I want that in my life. I want him to see that. I want my kids to see that I can be healthy. I don't want my kids growing up me being either skinny or fat. So I think start tracking your goals and baby little steps. Anyone can achieve it. Literally, your proof, you've did it. When you look at your transformation, you've done it. I did it.
Anyone. You can't even recognise me.
Well, exactly. We're completely different.
And I think the fact as well is that you're essentially sitting here at 33 years of age. And you kind of got to where you want to be. So essentially, you're the same as me, where we've done it quite late in life. Where we've got someone who may be listening now. They've got, they might be in their 20s and just had a child, and it is the message that I think across the board, just from today's podcast, is purely that we can make that time.
There's always time.
You don't have to be hours in the gym. No. I even got I remember I've got some of my clients that don't even go to the gym. It's a home workout, or it's a run around the block. But before you do any of that, it's looking at what you intake in your foods. Because you're proof in the pudding or the barbecue that you can essentially have a great body, feel great, be the best shape that you've ever been in.
By far.
But also be able to eat pretty much anything that you want. And I think that's the kind of message where we've got to the point where now with you is that you try out all these different diets and so on, but not because someone's telling you to, because you're trying to find that elite kind of or another way of doing it.
I want to know how my body runs perfectly. I know I don't want to be on a low calorie diet all year. I've done that. It sucked towards the end, and I lost a lot of motivation because I could just stay at that percentage. I don't want that anymore. So I wanted to try something different, and I want to probably get a bit stronger. I haven't been able to get past a certain weight bench and certain weight legs for a long time, so I want to get past that, and I know I've got to up my calories, so I'm embarking on something new because I purely enjoy it. But you don't have to train every day. Like you could be in the gym for 45 minutes max 4 times a week, and that's more than enough. Like you look at some of the bodybuilders, they don't spend an hour and a half, 2 hours in the gym. They're just intense 45 minutes. That's all you need. But it's diet. You can work your ass off in the gym, but if you haven't nailed or know what you're eating, then it's just going to waste. And I was living proof. when I was training with you for the first year, we would lift heavy weights, but I looked terrible. I still had layers of fat on me. And I was like, I would think, oh, God, I lifted so much weights today. I'm going to really smash lunch. I used to come to work and have a handful of nuts with a massive yogurt, then a big old lunch, and then maybe late in the day, more nuts, because they'd be by my table, fruit, and I didn't realise how many calories I was eating. And they were good, like fats are good for you, but the amount I was eating, I was way over my calorie intake.
And I think that's what's, that kind of like the whole conversation that we ended up talking more about our nutrition than we did about our actual workouts, because we were very confident that when we were doing our workouts, we knew what we were doing. Yeah, and it's like when I was doing my challenge, my food for me was essentially fuel. I had to change my diet altogether. So we were gone from lifting heavy weights. We were gone from making sure that we're eating enough fuel to make sure that we could lift those heavy weights, and then suddenly I'm cycling for hours on end, and my fuel was all sorts of calories straight through the roof. But it worked for that goal. For me, it worked. For what you're doing then had worked. What you're doing now is working. You're fine tweaking it to give you a little bit more energy at the gym. And I think this is where people can take it to a whole new level just by realizing that maybe the stuff that we're eating day to day, like the packet crisps, or maybe just the one the croissant that turns into 2 croissants.
It's easy to slip.
It is, and I think then people that go, oh, okay, but it's only a croissant or it's only a packet of crisps. But if it's 1 crisp every single day, then that's going to add up, and then
and that means you can't have your cheat meal.
Exactly.
If you have a croissant every day and then you have a cheat meal, you're going to be over. But if you pull back on little things, then you can indulge still. It doesn't have to be eating cardboard and boring meals. You can really spice things up and eat whatever you want, but it's all in moderation. It's all in moderation. And as soon as you start tracking it, it is easy. And
what are we going to see from your Instagram page? Are we going to see more of these amazing foods? Because I know that we haven't gone on to this kind of conversation yet, but you've taken the barbecue foods, and now the winter in the UK is here.
Yeah, it sucks.
You've now started into cakes.
Yeah. I've started.
So how's that going?
It was a weird one. The thing is, okay, so it's all kind of it's a snowball effect. I started cooking because Laura was pregnant, enjoyed it. I then lost all my weight, so I started tracking calories. I then started the night before writing down what I wanted to achieve in the gym the next day. So like when me and you used to train, normally I would have a list of exactly what we're doing, because I would be excited. I'd be on the sofa the night before thinking, oh, we're doing legs tomorrow. Let's do this, that many reps, this. So I started documenting everything. I'm writing in my FitnessPal what I'm eating. So everything this whole year has been note taking. When I do my barbecuing, I write notes on every single barbecue I've ever done, purely because if I want to cook the same meal, I know exactly what ingredients. And I mean to the 1 teaspoon of sea salt, 1 teaspoon of paprika. I list to the point. I write timings down, temperature down. So if it turned out good, I then know what I did and I can do it again. If it turned out bad, I know, well, okay, so I used that much pepper, or I cooked it at that temperature and it didn't work, came out a bit dry. Let's drop the temperature to 120 and cook it for a bit longer and rest it for a bit, and it came out perfect. So I've become this whole year very regimented at taking notes. And I thought, well, it's coming up to winter. I can't barbecue, and I can only do so many Sunday roasts before it gets a bit boring. So I thought, well, what could I do next? And I thought, well, if I've done all the note taking and it's a recipe, why don't I just apply that to baking? And I'm not going to lie, I love British Bake Off. I watch it every year, and it started because of that. Bake Off was on every Tuesday at 8 o'clock, and I would get home and I would bake something at the beginning and watch Bake Off whilst my bake is baking in the oven, then pause it before they give the results of who has won Star Baker and who unfortunately has to leave that week. And I would go back in the kitchen and get whatever I cooked out, cool it, and bring it in. And me and Laura would sit there watching Bake Off, eating the bake that I'd done. And it would either be like a bundt cake, cupcakes, anything. I did the week before I did a jammy Dodger blondie. It was amazing. I've loved it. I've gone from never baking in my life to like the cupcakes. I did Halloween cupcakes the week before. I make my own cupcake, obviously. I make my own frosting. I add hidden inside, so when you bite into the cupcake, there's even marshmallow or more chocolate. It's really weird how much I've enjoyed it. I absolutely love it. Again, but it's an eye opener because now I won't touch. People bring in brownies, or at the company I work at, oddly every Thursday there's a brownie lady who comes around and sells brownies. I wouldn't really eat that before, but I would consider I'll have a mouthful. But now I know what goes inside a brownie or inside a cake. The amount of sugar is everyone says, oh, there's a lot of sugar. There's a lot of sugar.
We had this discussion when I was around your house because there is, people don't understand. It's like you just said there's a lot, and then there's a lot.
Like when you say 500 grams of sugar goes into a cake, like it's not the big packet, but that's a big packet, and then on top of that you've got a whole load of butter, like a whole brick of butter. Like, it's mind-boggling how much sugar and how many calories go into cake. But I make it, I have one slice, and then I don't eat the rest. I enjoy making it, and I have to admit that's I guess why I came back onto calorie counting, because I haven't calorie counted all summer. Like when I got down to my weight, my percentage, I was calorie counting. After that, I knew roughly by eye I can have this for breakfast and that for lunch and an occasional treat. And the whole summer I didn't have to, but it's only I've started it up more recently. It's because I found by doing the cakes, especially because I'm baking every night, trying out what works means I have to actually eat it. I put on a percentage of body fat, and I felt, oh, this is a slippery slope. So I've gone back up. That's why I started the calorie counting and carbs and ketos, because I was starting to put on a little bit of weight. But I was baking every night. Like, every night I'd come home and just bake up something for fun and then take a picture of it.
So I take it we're not going to see too many more cakes on the Instagram page.
We're going to ease it off. I don't mind. I probably do one cake a week either. And I get the kids involved, like Naomi, like on a Sunday roast, if I want to get her involved. I did an apple crumble with her, and she loves it. If apple crumble, the crumble is just flour and butter. So she's there just throwing flour everywhere and anywhere but the mixing bowl.
It's quite amazing, really, where your hobby of your goal of getting yourself into a good shape has now actually gone like full circle, and now essentially you're doing stuff where your daughter is now involved. And it's all linked to you having a good body, because it's the cooking side of it, it's the aspect of the nutrition side of it, and I think you're also now teaching your children, one, how to cook, but they're also seeing their parents eating some amazing foods that are not out of a packet or anything like that.
It is. People may say, "Oh, but it's expensive," and fair enough. Like, if you go and buy fresh veg, it does cost. Like, it's costly, but you don't have to buy fresh. I buy frozen. When I was doing my again, going back to January, February, when I was doing really tracking and cutting calories, everything I bought was frozen. Because I'm making a big batch. Like, I would have I've got, I don't know what literage, but it's a massive saucepan at home that I used to throw all the vegetables to make, say, a tofu curry. Everything in it was frozen from the frozen half, because it's half the price, and I needed a lot of it. So it doesn't have to come out costly.
Yeah. I guess the problem we will always have in the UK, as well as any other most countries, is that essentially the bad foods, the unhealthy foods,
the cheapest.
are cheapest.
Yeah. I mean, I think we've had this discussion before. I get really angry with packaging. Yeah. Because, again, now I'm this side of my body. Like, I know calories, I know macros, I know all this now just because I've taught myself. You look at some of the packaging where they come across as super healthy food, like this super like breakfast bar and they've got someone running on it, or like cornfields, like an illustration. It looks super organic, super healthy, and then you turn it over and you look how much sugar is in it, or how many calories. Like one of the, I'm not going to say brand, but a breakfast bar. You think, and it looks again all organic, all great. It's got 400 calories in a little. That's not going to fill you up. Like 4 bites and it's gone. 400 calories, 100 per bite. It's like, that's not going to fill you up. You can go and have, blimey, an apple's 50 calories. So you
could have a massive bowl of cereal.
Exactly. You could have 6 apples or 1 bar. That's not going to fill you up. It's just
people don't realise how the marketing works. But essentially, not only is unhealthy foods the cheapest, but also it's the most colourful in packaging and wrapping.
And it's hard to.
So you walk down essentially the bland aisles, and the bland, non-colourful aisles are actually the most healthiest. But then you end up going down an aisle that's full of colour, and it's full of this, and it's full of that, and things are shouting. I wonder
why.
Yeah, and it's all shouting at you, but unfortunately, it's all the wrong
food.
It's the wrong foods, and this is where, from a very, even from a very young age, it's hard to stop your children running up to something that they don't actually know what's in the packet, because it's got a little cartoon on it, or
they
it's got
want
this. They want it, and then it's a sweet, because you won't get a cartoon on a packet of carrots, or
exactly.
And this is where the whole thing that we're discussing.
It's hard to educate.
It stems back, and it is expensive to eat healthier.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be.
But it doesn't have to be.
No,
exactly.
I was. Where was I? I was somewhere recently where I was overheard someone talking about this, 2 women, and they were saying about how to try and eat healthy. And I almost wanted to buy. I should have bought it in, but I was like, frozen aisle. Yeah. Like, I never used to go down the frozen aisle. I used to go to the fresh aisle to get fresh veg, and then wonder why my bill was so big. But you go down the frozen aisle. It's like frozen peas, frozen carrots. Like, it's all sliced up as well. So it's just chuck it in a big bowl and cook it. It's easy. But yeah, packaging is a nightmare. And also, I find another thing that is really hard is some packages do per 100. Some packages do per something else. Like, the worst offender was, I went to, normally I always do my own salsa, but I was being incredibly lazy and I couldn't be bothered, and I was in the supermarket, so I bought a salsa jar, and I was there for about half hour trying to figure out which one was the most healthiest, because on one package it did it per teaspoon, and then another one was like per 100, and I was like, unless I'm a mathematician, how am I going to figure this one out?
Yeah, because they do per 100 grams in standard, and then it's per serving. Yeah, and and now how they trick you, if the per serving is very small. Like
a teaspoon, so it looks super healthy.
So what it is, you're actually getting a teaspoon is nothing, but when you look at it, automatically you think, but it's only like 100 calories. But then you realise that actually you're not going to have a teaspoon, because what you're going to do is just keep dunking it away.
Dunking it away you go.
And where most of the stuff is, and it should be per 100 grams.
Everything should be that.
But when that even fools people, because what they do is they look at it 100 grams, but then don't realise that the actual packet is 350.
You have to then look at the weight. Yeah,
like and packets of crisps are a nightmare for like this, because the actual crisps are. I will not talk about the small packets, like the like the mid-sized packets of crisps. They're actually bigger than 100 grams. Yeah. So when you read that, you think, actually, it's 400 something calories for this packet of crisps, but it's not.
It's not. No, the weight is more. Yeah. But back to my earlier point, use the app MyFitnessPal. Yeah. You scan it makes it so you scan it and it will come up, and then normally on the drop down it says per bag or whatever and then you realise, actually it's quite a lot. I can't eat that, so I'll put it down. The amount of times I used to scan food just to see what it was, because I don't know why, it displays the information clearer to me. Yeah. But it's hard. There's a lot to learn.
Yeah, there is. And I think the part of the learning process is actually the part of the venture kind of thing.
Yeah, it's been fun. Like, it really has been fun learning what you can. I guess that's my mindset anyway. Like, what you can and can't, and adapt. Like, I can Can't have parsnips, but I can have carrots. So let's go double the amount on that because I know it'll fill me up. It's been good fun, an eye opener.
And for people that want to find you,
yes,
where can they find?
Well, yeah. If you want to look at very delicious food and cakes and slow, then it's the Grill Master of Surrey.
I'm going to put all these links on the post when we get this up there, so you'll have all the links to his page. Be warned, they are beautiful pictures of some amazing foods that will get your mouth watering. And I'm sure that you'll be happy to take any questions on your side.
Yeah, of course.
As I would as always. But basically, for me, we're going to wrap this up.
Yep, sounds good.
It's been an absolute pleasure having you on, Matt.
Thank you.
And for me, I think the biggest message across from having you on is that you can have a family, you can have a busy working life, you can have zero time, and then you could essentially, with very small steps, make that time, grow into the person that you've always wanted to be,
massively.
And then completely go past that, build on it, and continue to learn about your own body without having someone there telling you you're doing it right or wrong, and just learning yourself.
Yeah, and also trying to inspire others. Like, as I say, I'm doing it at one point, was doing it for my kids so that they grow up seeing you can be healthy. And another thing is, like, obviously we've got a group of friends at the gym. Yeah. It's like, if I can do it, any of them can do it. If you go back in time 1 year, I was in the same position they were. I was overweight, and in a year I've really switched it around and how I am now. Like, and they always ask me, I'm not training with you because I can't lift your weight. And I was like, I was on your weight a year ago. Like, you can do it, and just try and inspire other people.
So, final message to all the listeners out there, just a final kind of like message from Matt. What would you say?
Baby steps, so you don't set yourself for a fall. Start